Mr. Nixon, good to see you again.
Thank you for inviting me.
Mr. Nixon, in the last 24 hours, we heard Barack Obama rapping. Eminem, of course, joined the Harris campaign. And Tulsi Gabbard has now joined the Republican Party. As the election nears, we hear less about the issues and more about political gimmicks. Is that a character of U.S. elections?
Yes, that is a character of U.S. Elections, because I think at this point they realize that the foundational dynamics that determine the outcome of this election are set, and now they're just trying to tweak their arguments. They're trying to do things that are performative to attract those last few voters that haven't decided. So I expect these kinds of things. I would also expect some kind of what we refer to in the U.S. as a black swan event or an October surprise, where generally the candidates hold like some dirt or some bad thing about their opposition, and at the last minute, a week or weeks before the election, they release that. So I think we can look forward to both candidates pulling some kind of a October surprise additionally. But as I said, the dynamics here that are going to determine the outcome of this election, I think, are pretty solidly set.
So then where does this performance leave the undecided voters? That's said to be less than 4% of the voter population.
Well, what we're seeing now in the last few weeks is the numbers are starting to swing in the direction of the Trump campaign. So I would expect that, generally what you actually see, this is actually an anomaly what we're seeing, because generally the one candidate or the other will have a sizable lead, at least a significant lead that would predict a victory. And in the last few weeks, things tighten up. That's generally how our elections work here. This is actually odd in that they were very, very close. And now towards the end, things are starting to swing in the direction of Donald Trump. I suspect that being the case, that these undecideds will probably more than likely swing in the direction of Donald Trump, because that's the trajectory right now of the electorate and the voters.
Absolutely. And speaking of Donald Trump, if I can quote him, in the last 12 hours, these are some of the statements that have come directly from the Republican presidential nominee. Kamala Harris is a low IQ individual. No one takes her seriously. Something is wrong with her. Does she drink? Is she on drugs? Now, the thing is that it doesn't matter how you or I perceive these comments. I want to ask you, how are the voters perceiving these comments? Because it clearly is working. America is split, and as you correctly mentioned, it's actually swinging towards Donald Trump and his campaign.
Well, what has happened over the last several weeks, Kamala Harris has done a number of interviews, and a couple of them haven't gone very well, where she's kind of, meandered. Her oratory skills have been in great question, shall we say, in the U.S. press. And I think Donald Trump is just capitalizing on that. Donald Trump is a man who has a history of being an entertainer. He understands how to play to the audience. And I think that's what he's doing. He's seeing a dynamic wherein Kamala hasn't been looking really good in her advertisements. Those kinds of questions and jokes have been made about her online and on social media. And I think he's leaning into that to go on the attack, because Donald Trump, one thing he does first and foremost is he goes on the attack, and he sees an opportunity for that, and he's going for the jugular.
All right, Mr. Nixon, thank you so much for all your insights. I look forward to speaking to you again. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.